Well, good morning. This is Jeff from Arcanum Holistic Clinic, and I just have a few minutes before I get started with my morning. I wanted to share some of the things that are in this article. I'm looking at this article was published a couple of days ago on bustle.com. It's called Nine Fascinating Things No One Ever Taught You About Male Fertility. And let's see, I've highlighted some things just to remind myself. Yeah, right at the beginning, there's a very interesting opening. It starts, well, it's setting the context with talking about the importance of male fertility, and it sets the context with this statistic. It says infertility impacts 1 in 8 couples, which that's actually quite a lot, and the causes vary, but male infertility is a third of the cause. So I think we saw that in a recent article we looked at, where the stats are quite high, or quite, close to equal, between men and women being behind the causes of infertility. There's a point here I highlighted. It talks about um, sperm count decreases in hotter environments, Dr. Riley says, including places like hot tubs and saunas. This is why many doctors recommend men avoid soaking in hot water or doing anything that will heat up that general area, such as placing a laptop on their lap when trying to conceive. So yeah, we have the whole just the basic regimen issue of body temperature, and particularly in the whole groin area. This point is very interesting to me as well. Their second point in the article: vegans have a lower sperm count, and actually we talk quite a bit about this in our book on the 8 steps to natural fertility. And by the way, you can get that book for free if you don't already. It's available at naturalfertilitybook.com, and you'll see in our chapter 3 of that book, we talk about the importance in fertility for animal source proteins for both the male and the female. And you can't, I know people, will promote things like, tofu and other vegetable sources of protein, but it's not giving you the same factors that you need for fertility. So if we continue on from this point, um, actually, yeah, and just to actually finish off on my last point on this point of vegetable protein, here the same Dr. Riley they're quoting says, alternate sources of protein would be useful to offset this issue, but as I say, not so much, as I just explained, that we have in our chapter 3 of our book. Going down to their fourth point, they talk about sexually transmitted infections can lead to infertility. And I say, yes, this is absolutely true, but where we also make a distinction is between actual current infections, someone actually contracts an STI in the present time. But what's even more significant, even someone who has not ever contracted an STI, when we look at the whole genetic inheritance in either of the pair, either the man or the woman, you look back in the family tree and you see signs of certain diseases that run through the family. Whether we're talking about heart disease is a very big one, but then there are many other littler ones, arthritis and allergies, and we even get into the realms of some conditions of anxiety. And anyways, there's a whole range. I'm not gonna pull out that whole list, but the idea here is that these STIs have actually transcended transcended the lines of family genetics. They actually, from generations back, we still see the after effects of STIs and all kinds of common health conditions that people normally wouldn't associate with them. So yes, this point is absolutely valid about taking care of any STIs, but we even go much deeper into dealing with that in the whole family genetic structure. The technical word that we use is the chronic miasms. Getting a little bit of Greek into our morning, but yes, certainly that's a good point. We just, as I say, we expand on that even further in our fertility protocol. So in this point here, let me just collapse this window. He says, this is another doctor, Dr. Risk, says 95, sorry, maybe that's supposed to be the other way around, 55 to 95% of semen is made up of a thick fluid that allows sperm to swim to their destination. And as I comment here, um, we actually cover the whole nutritional protocol, which gives this this healthy composition of semen and sperm, and it's again, it's in our book. You can download that at www.naturalfertilitybook.com, and we actually give you the exact diet, the exact way to get this healthy sperm. It's nice that they have statistics and so on here, but they don't really give very practical advice about how to do that. Um, what else do I have here? Um, just scrolling back to where I am. And I think, yeah, the final point that they make in this article, I'm skipping some of their points because they don't really have much substance to them. They're pretty vague in general. But in this point here, stress can make it tough to conceive. Well, that's, I suppose, pretty obvious. It should be to most people. And yeah, and definitely that's what I comment on here. Not only do we just acknowledge that as a general point, and then people are left a little bit mystified as to how to manage their stress or what they actually should do about it, but that's why in our fertility protocol we include the whole range of homeopathics that deal with specific emotions and specific stresses, not just as a general concept, but on a very individualized basis for how a given individual responds to that. And the way I'll often talk about stress in the general health context and the general treatment context is that on an individual basis, we use stress as this general word, but what does it mean on an individual basis? And the way that somebody experiences their stress and expresses it, some people may experience it more as physical tension, tension in the neck or tension in the gut or things like that. Other people, it'll come out in specific behaviors, behaviors that are showing high levels of irritability or frustration or things like that, like their overt behaviors. Or other people may just become very kind of withdrawn with the feeling of overwhelmed, and so on. Just to say that there's a very individual expression of stress, and that's what we formulate the homeopathic remedies on that individual basis to help someone kind of be much more steady and strong in the face of whatever stress is. Of course, stress is fairly universal. It's just a question of how we're able to deal with it. So that's pretty much the end of this article. I just wanted to bring out the good points and expand on where we could go even further with some of the things that they point to. Again, if you don't have our fertility book, it's free at naturalfertilitybook.com. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.